All right. All right, cool. So as I was saying, let me just kind of repeat a little bit. What this call, the Saturday Q&A call is what I'm calling it, is going to be a little bit for questions for Spotlight if you want to be coached in front of others, but at the same time, they can coach you as well, get feedback. I'll be sharing with you things that I'm adding in the portal, get my from your calls with each other, practices, come in with those questions, or what did you think, or how did that work for you? And then now that you're certified, you can also make it the art form of the NLP, right? How can you use it in a creative way to help your clients or whoever it is that you're working with también. So those are what these Saturday calls are. The other calls, the other group calls, I will be coming in, teaching something, send me feedback, on like, hey, I want to like learn a little bit more about this. Cool. Like we'll focus on that. And it'll just be something where you can either come review something, learn something new, maybe something. I may sometimes teach master prac level things in here because I find a lot of the things in master practitioner, master coach level of NLP is important to know at the practitioner level. And it just helps to know. For example, I've taught Ashton values. That's a master practitioner thing, but we don't learn it in prac level because it's a higher level teaching and it takes longer to teach. So I'll be teaching it in like little bits and pieces. All right. Awesome. So let's start with this. What are some celebrations for this week? Any wins? Anything that you're looking forward these coming weeks? And if you hear my background, Alex is babysitting Raiden right now, so we'll see how that goes.
So right now, today, I'm celebrating. I had a little mini trip. Carla knows about it with my best friend and sister. We spent 3 days with my cousin. We went to the spa. It was just like a getaway, and it was so awesome. And Carla, what you don't know is yesterday everything went completely awry. We were on our way back, and we get gas. I was like, what time was it? It was like 3, and her car didn't start. And I was like, oh my God, it was so, oh my God. So it was just like I didn't get back till 11:30 last night. But what I was happy about and what I'm celebrating is just that we have this type of relationship where things happen and we just like go with the flow. And like I didn't want to, I mean, I'm tired. So I was like, well, I really didn't want to wake up for the call today with Roxy, but I still did. I woke up at actually 8. And so I'm just celebrating being able to overcome those challenges and still have a good time and not just get down on myself and like get into the shit, but just like, okay, what are we doing? And I ended up like renting a car because I was like, well, we got to rent a car to come back, and I ended up having to return the car. It's like a long, long story, but throughout all of that, we still just flowed. And so I'm celebrating that today.
Nice, congrats. And also, it sounds like, sometimes that kind of stuff happens and we go into the effect. We're like, oh my God, nothing is working. Like it was supposed to be a great trip. Y ahora mira cómo terminamos. Like, what does that mean? Like, good job on like keeping I'm gonna say keeping your cool in it. You like figured out like, okay, resource, let me rent a car just in case. You took control, right? You got it like if I use NLP terminology, you got a cause for that because you were in effect of the car. Crap, it's not turning on, it's not working. Okay, but let me get a cause so we can resolve this in some kind of way. So congratulations.
Thank you. And also congrats to Roxy for an amazing coaching session today. It was really, really great.
Yes.
We could probably talk about that later, but
Yes.
I came in late because I wanted to make sure the video was recorded.
Mhm.
But she did amazing. Like I actually have homework and it's really helpful homework. So I'm really
Nice. I
proud.
want to hear about that here in this call, and if you have any questions regarding how the call went as well.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Ashton. Thank you.
So what's a win for you, Roxy?
Let's see, what's a win for me? I started to wake up again.
Yeah.
At my, it's not exactly where I want to be, but it's a step towards there.
Mhm.
So today, since it's Saturday, I woke up like at 6:30. And then yesterday, I think I woke up like at 4:30-ish, something like that. So not too bad.
Nice,
Uh,
congrats.
yeah,
So we had
thank-
a coaching call with Roxy, and she's what we call mañanera, like she wakes up early.
no, I don't
And
actually. I'm not, but
well,
I
from
want
what
to
since
be.
I've known you, you've woken up early. Is like she's been very dedicated, like when she was here in Austin, waking up early, going to the gym, and sometimes things can happen. Can I share a little bit?
Yeah, yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
So you could say there was a little bit of what she said, a rut. And so the waking up wasn't happening. The working out probably wasn't happening. When we work at home, like no queremos cambiarnos, like we just kind of want to be in our pajamas and things like that. And Roxy and Ashton knows, you met her in person too. She dresses nice, right? She dresses like she knows how to dress. And so that wasn't happening. And so one of the goals that we set was, let's start little by little, right? What if you can wake up at 5:30, on weekdays? I didn't really implement weekends in there, but good job today. And
Thank you.
so that's a win, that yesterday you woke up at 4:30 and you did what you needed to do.
Thank you. Yes, it's a win.
Hmm. And I also share it here because we're all keeping each other accountable.
Yeah.
So any wins? I know for one, you're dressed for the day, so that's a win.
That's a huge win for a
Hmm.
Saturday morning.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's a win.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Like getting these kids ready in the morning on weekdays, it's been tough, but I'm changing my schedule, so I'm trying to be up earlier than them so that I can get my morning workout in and start my routine that way. For example, I've left my house uh 3 times this week, surprisingly.
Uh-huh.
Although I felt like I was still off, but I said I feel like I need to be in other spaces to get some of this work done.
Hmm.
And so I decided to like be out and about. So I've done
Yeah.
that, which has been really great.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I think that's a win, like a change in routine.
Congrats.
Yeah,
For
thank you.
sure. Yeah, I'm figuring out that routine. Kid doesn't have it yet, but um yeah, all of you moms, like congratulations to you. That's a win for me. Is to be connected to women like you who already have your kids, who you already have this, you can say routine or different routines happening. And right now, Soyla actually got on pretty much when I started the call, and I was like, I was like, I'll be back. I gotta go get this kid a bottle now because all of a sudden he started to like, but thank you for your patience there. So figuring that out, that's a win, is, being okay with letting him be with somebody else, like other than the babysitter. And just trusting that. And then the other win I'll say is just getting the workouts in this week. And this call, of course, that's a big win for me, is like we're ready, we're set. It's just something that is a win. So I have three mini wins that just feel like a bigger win here. So yeah, and just, being connected to you. One thing I want to share is the word of the year. Have any of y'all set it up? Or maybe pondered on it? Not yet, not yet. What's your Soyla?
Mine is bold.
Ooh,
If
yeah.
I can be any more bolder, I've
No,
already
I've
been.
seen your new shares and stuff, your pink,
Yeah.
your wigs and all that.
Yes, I was
That's
like, let me wear
bold.
my wigs. Yeah, so bold in terms of reaching out to new audiences,
Hmm.
and I want to get a few more contracts in, but that takes, I've been putting it off since like last year, oh in
Hmm.
November, oh in December, but now it's the new year, so
Hmm.
I've got to get new contracts in for this year.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
bold. I love it. Mine
Thank
is
you.
purpose. It's purpose, kids give you this different purpose too. So right now the world has been revolving around him, but also purpose with how I want to take the academy, MetaFit, MetaMind. One of my goals, big goals for this year, is to hire on coaches. I want to hire at least 2 coaches on, and then have bigger trainings later this year. So that's the purpose I'm going towards. So yeah. So now that we've celebrated our wins, shared our words, Ashton and Roxy, that'll be something maybe you can think of and share in the group at some point this week. Just, whatever you feel, you're like, huh, I think that's my word. I feel like that's my word, actually. Then you'll know that that's it. So what questions do you have? What have you learned? What do I need to know? Sound familiar?
Right now, I don't, well, I could just say a couple of things that
Mhm.
that came up from the last session, which I mentioned to you, is having acts, or I know for me, I want to practice the techniques more.
Yeah.
That's like a big area that I want to work in or work on. And I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to Roxy about that. And yeah, just having those techniques, and something that I thought about after my call with Roxy is that I think would be helpful is when you're sharing feedback on some of our calls or things are coming up, it would be helpful for us to know what, like, I don't know, like building this, and I think you kind of touched on it at the beginning, is
Mm-hmm.
building this space where we're learning, like, hey, this happened on
Mm-hmm.
this call, but maybe, and this is how I would do it differently, or this is
Mm-hmm.
how you can overcome these challenges. That way
Gotcha.
it's not segmented where
Mm-hmm.
you're just talking to me, because maybe Roxy might do the same thing, or maybe Solas weren't, maybe, I don't know, like just building this real community where we're
Mm-hmm.
learning from each other, I think would
Yeah.
be super helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I already shared with you about the techniques.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I thought Roxy did a really good job on the call,
Mm-hmm.
and she did share like some worksheets with me, and some other things which I thought were really helpful. So us possibly building that database, like this coaching database where we have
Mm-hmm.
all these things that we can share with clients, and that's going to help us all really take our businesses to the next level, and keeping each other accountable, because I
For
know
sure.
that accountability is really helpful. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I would
Cool.
love to use the group more to
Mm-hmm.
conversate,
Yeah.
and really have that accountability.
Cool. Yeah, no, and I thank you for that feedback. I take that fully wholly, and I'm grateful to you for all the feedback that you give me, and that's the part of the purpose for this feedback for me is to give you more in the portal, because you get to keep it forever. Never gonna get you off from it. If I ever were to change from it, I would be like, hey guys, here's all your stuff, right? This is for you forever, to listen to all the audios, to get those templates. If I update templates, if I update the manuals too, you'll have all of that. And yeah, like like how you overcome these challenges, for sure. I'll be doing both audios and videos that I can add in there as well. Roxy, did you have any questions based on your call?
I think so. I have
Mhm.
a few things to share. So the
Mhm.
worksheets that I shared with Ashton actually sent you a link to
I
one
think
of
I got it.
them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be very helpful, for all of us. I actually came across this um from a different coach,
Mm-hmm.
and I went ahead and I bought it because I was like, why not? What would it hurt? And it was like
Mm-hmm.
$12 or something. And looking at it, I'm like, okay, this is, it'd be really helpful for me, because in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, when I was telling Ashton this, I was putting off the practice sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I've been really nervous. I
Yeah.
would say the word is nervous, a little bit nervous, just to kind of, am I sure of what I'm doing, and what am I supposed to do in different, you know, areas, and how do I know when I'm doing things
Yeah.
according to what is helpful for the client?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was going through this, I was like, okay, so, we have like the different sections, and we did identity session with her today, and it
Mm-hmm.
was really good, because like as I'm going through this and I have the book, I'm noticing that like in these you know, with this worksheet and then with the ones that you've already provided us with the book, we can kind of determine which technique would work for them, or if we just, go through like just the different languages and just kind of like, going through that. So it was helpful.
Good.
My question is, I know this is probably not going to be the first time that I feel some sort of like, I wouldn't say anxiety, just a little bit of like nervousness, I guess. So what can I do
Mhm.
before my call to prepare myself to feel like I'm in that space of knowing what I'm doing? Like I'm confident within myself to
Mhm.
know that I'm doing what I'm doing.
I feel like I talk about this a lot. I've probably repeated it, and I'm probably un ¿cómo se dice? Un disco rayado already with this one. That my favorite thing to do, like this chair is my anchor. I
Okay.
feel a certain way when I sit on this chair. When I get the feedback, I no longer feel the old, and you're all free from it, the old angst and anxiety I used to get from jobs that used to give me critique or feedback. And I take it fully without getting offended, without feeling anything like that, right? Because I am anchored to this, and not necessarily this chair, but in my mind, when I sit and I'm gonna get in a group call or in a one-on-one, even if someone has more years of experience than me in coaching, I'm like, this is my space that I am interacting with this group, with this person, and I feel good. Like in my mind, right? Or my heart and my body, what I feel is confident, feel power, feel knowledgeable, feel that even one little thing is value to somebody, even if it's repeated, right? Even if it's otra vez mi disco rayado, like anchoring is like this chair is my anchor. And if I am not on this chair, but I'm like, let's say at a coffee shop and I'm gonna get on a coaching call, then I sit the way that I would sit or stand on that chair at home at that coffee shop. And sometimes I even, when I speak to the camera, I'll look and I sometimes do movements like this is what we do, and this is what we do, and this is what I'm anchored to. So figure out a way to anchor yourself. Like, how did you feel at the end of the session with Ashton?
Oh, it was good.
Yeah, what is good?
I felt, what is good? I felt like in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
I knew what I was doing
Ah,
and things were
okay.
easy.
Things are easy.
And it wasn't a guessing like,
Mm-hmm.
am I doing this right? It was more like, okay, I did it and
So
I
how do you
can
feel right
do this.
now as you are recalling these feelings that you felt from that call?
I feel confident that I know what I'm doing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you can just find like 2 or 3 or 4 feelings that you can continually be on repeat, have that song on repeat. Have that song on repeat. Or Ashton does music, right? She does the um uh Queen the Moves, right? And she does, I forgot your playlist called. For some reason my mind slipped at the moment.
I saw the Queen of Moves playlist.
There we go. Queen the Moves playlist, right? And so there's music for specific feelings, different things that you want to feel. So if you need to play some music before, that could be one. Maybe you take a shower, right? Like Soyla, she took a shower before. She's like, cool, I feel refreshed. I feel this, or I feel that for this. Right? Just a few things. You don't have to do it exactly like the book says for
Hmm.
you to get into that state. To work with someone to create your anchors, cool, like do it the way that the sheet says. But for you, you already know how to do it. You know how to access the control of being at state, right? At a more wanted state. So I no longer want to feel anxious or nervous. Let me recall that call I had with Ashton. I know what I'm doing. I felt confident, right? I feel good, whatever good feel means to you. And so that would be one way to do it. Ashton does music. For me, this chair is just as soon as I sit on it, it's like a switch just lights on. Yep, you can use aromatherapy too. You can definitely, our
Okay.
nose is the strongest anchor. If you ever go to bake shop or someone else's house and it smells like someone in your family did that, you know, you're like, ah, that smells like so and so's cookies or los plátanos de wherever, you know? So that's definitely one of our strongest anchor too. Thank you, Ashley. This is why I like these Q&As too, because somebody else has a suggestion or an idea. So does that help?
Yes, yes. Actually, I feel like I would like to be anchored to the chair, not only for um the coaching calls,
Uh-huh.
because I know I'm probably gonna have many here, but also for my job.
Yeah.
Um, as of right now, with what I got going on, I find myself less frustrated than what I used to with specific clients that I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to.
Mm-hmm.
But I still get those moments, where I'm just like, ugh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
and then I feel like if I've had a different feeling sitting here, then my work would be a whole lot better than what it is now.
Mm-hmm. So one thing you can do is, I don't think enough we practice this enough, and I may just do a full call on this. Collapsing
Mhm.
anchors. Collapse the negative feeling that you have on this chair because you have used it for work and you have this, ugh, this person. Cállese, señora, escuche, you know, like whatever things that they're dealing with, right? You're like, ugh. And then whatever that feeling is, it starts to build on let's say this chair. You can collapse it. So you build your anchors. So this one you would follow the sheet a little bit more. You stack anchors, like 10 to 15, however many good anchors, whatever good means to you, right? Strong, powerful. I know what I'm doing. I'm confident. I'm knowledgeable. Stack, 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 stack. Or so basically you would, let's say, right? You would say, okay, as I sit on this chair, I feel confident. Cool. When I feel confident, you sit on it and you sit like you would sit confidently, whatever, right? And then that one's complete. Cool. And so you build it enough. And yeah, it's on the same chair, but you recall the negative one once. But I would say sit the way that you would be when you are discontent, right? So let's say you're on the chair, you're like, ah, and you build this one and you only added once. Okay. So then when you are going to collapse it, you start here, you're like, ugh. And then you start to recall, you can like anchor it on your hand to build yourself into it. When you built it here, let's say you're like, and then finally you're like, okay, I'm in my negative. Let me turn on my positives. All right, cool. Like I'm here now. And now that one's collapsed. So if you try to go here, you're like, no, 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 I don't want to be there. I'm right here. So that would be a way to collapse an anchor. The way that someone, like there was this girl in one of my NLP trainings, and she had this very negative anchor to her waist because she was a dancer, and sometimes coaches and just random people will go and like, you know, they'll just touch you and without asking. So she had this very negative thing with someone touching her waist. So they built enough powerful positive anchors in, let's say, a different part of her body, and then they did one of the negative one. Okay. And then finally, when it was time to collapse that anchor, she started here. And then and this one, someone did have to, because it's body related, someone else did have to assist her to like turn on this anchor. And then eventually, when this one was collapsed, she was able to just kind of free that. And then at the end, they tested it out. They touched her here, and she was like, no, I feel good. I'm like, I can just brush it off type of thing. And it wasn't exactly like this, with she brushed it off, but it was a different feeling for her. So you may want to collapse for you, Roxy, because this is the chair. I think this is the chair that you work at too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you may want to collapse your like annoyance anchor first, before you build on more positive ones too. And there's nothing to say that if by building more powerful ones, the other one won't collapse, but just kind of like, oh, this person no me escucha, this or that, to just collapse it and, you know, remove yourself from that and be where you want to be at instead.
Okay.
Mhm. And if you
So
want
maybe
to record yourself and send it to me, cool. Like, you know, if you want to, you don't have to. Or you can just do it and be like, hey guys, in the group, like, I did it. And then you go from there.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool. What do you think about that, Soila?
For you in my head. Um,
Sensory acuity.
you're like, I think that sounds amazing. I
hmm
still have a problem with the practical piece.
hmm
Um, even the other day I was with a coaching client and I wanted to do the timeline with them.
Uh-huh.
One, I couldn't find it in the thing, and I was like, "What is it called? Maybe it's not called timeline." And
I haven't fully taught timeline.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that could be part of it. And then like I want to institute it in like my speaking, for example,
mhm.
you know, like get the crowd kind of engaged with that, with
Yeah.
some of these practices. So really is the practical part. So
Mhm.
hopefully once I start practicing a little bit more, I can get you know, where it's not like me looking
Yeah.
through the book, but rather like, oh, I got this. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
It took me a
Yeah.
few tries to like
Mhm.
not look at the book, and I've in the first year and a half that I got certified, I worked in the health space with health clients. So I had my book with me all the time, but I did this so much that eventually I didn't need it as much anymore. I had over 70 people that I worked with in the health space with NLP timeline hypnosis. So that's why I don't need it as much. But don't get me wrong, I always have my iPad since I don't want to take out my full textbook. And because I have it in PDF form. And I you have the PDF form in the portal, by the way. Um, and so, I'll look at it, I'll like glance at it, like, let me make sure, and they won't notice. It's just for us. So I sometimes still use my book, just not as much. Yeah, timeline definitely is something I can teach y'all like it would probably be like a 1 day thing where we fully teach it and you practice it with each other. You won't get certified in it, but I'll teach you how to do it. Yeah, cool. So yeah, so the also so like maybe, and this is if you ever wanted to, let's say you have like a speaking engagement or something, and you're like, hey, I have this speech written out. Can someone in the group potentially give me like 10 minutes, 15 minutes for me to practice speaking on camera? And then you can do that, and like let us know, hey, I want to do a practice my speaking engagement that I have in like however many days from now. Can someone jump on, whether it's one person, two persons, and then maybe they can give you some feedback too, if you want it, of course. And then for speaking, remember, like, I don't know if you like just do it on like standing up or sitting down, but speaking is fun to me. Because you can say, good morning, everyone. How's everybody feeling? Are you excited to be here? As you're here listening to me, we're going to learn a lot of things today. And you're going to understand at the end of this why blah, 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 right? And then you can do a little, I've told Ashton, use metaphors, right? And then you can kind of go into like a story or something like that. And you can say, just a couple years ago, those years, that year of the COVID years, those are some rough years, right? We just were masked so much. And it's time to unmask those things that no longer serve us, to go towards unmasking ourselves to full confidence and radiate in our life with purpose, with boldness. And let's just go big and bold, so we can just steal all the things that we need to in the way that we just become the um strongholds of our family and of our businesses or whatever. I just kind of threw whatever in my mind. But you can practice and then you can give me feedback. Oh, Carla, like you are doing a lot of distractions. Slow that down. You said a lot. Maybe cut that down a little bit. Whatever feedback we can give you if you wanted to, because NLP helped me with speaking a lot. And there is a specific way that you engage with your audience. So you do feelings, listening, visual, and then the auditory digital. So how do you feel today? Do you see yourself here? Like, how many of you are here seeing yourself getting those goals at the end? Because at the end of this, you're just gonna listen how much you celebrate and just know that's a auditory digital. You're just gonna know that this was the right place to be at the right time. Isn't that right? That's embedded command and NLP, right? And embedded commands are great when you're in a speaking engagement because people have kind of like a, oh yeah, that's right. Isn't that right? Right? And when I know that you know, we all know what we didn't know before. That's a little bit of more hypnotic language. So those are like little things that you can implement because NLP is a lot of the reason I do just the NLP aspect is because of the language. Right? The techniques, those are great. Those are great to do breakthroughs, to kind of get yourself into states, to let go of things you no longer want. But the language part of NLP is so powerful on its own that a lot of the greatest speakers, they use NLP to captivate their audience, right? Like ¿cómo se llama? Tony Robbins, he was NLP practitioner for a long time, and I think eventually he went and got his master prac and trainer of NLP. Although he doesn't certify people in NLP, he certifies coaches, I believe. You know, Obama is NLP trained, Will Smith, and several other people that are like well known. Oprah, of course, she's very NLP versed. And so it's just a big part. They're not doing techniques, but they are using the sensory acuity, the language, and the getting themselves into state to get the audience to be drawn in. So if you're able to get yourself in a good state, they're gonna be like, whoa, what are you doing? How are you so special? Right? And they see you in this interesting light. And then from there, the language. Because when one knows what they didn't know, we already are steps ahead of all the things as we are just moving up ahead in these mountain ranges, and we can see the view from the top. Because when we're at the top, that's when we can see where we've come from. Started from the bottom, now we're here, right? And you can add like little like hints of jokes because you have rapport with them. Rapport is another one. Building so much rapport unconsciously that just speaking slowly and a different pattern to your speech will help you draw those people. And this is just language because somebody wants more specific details, right? And we can move down the hierarchy of ideas because in the hierarchy of ideas, we want to know all the details. And when we know the details, we know the minute little things to all the way to micro information. And all that information is just for you to gain. And I probably have you, and maybe a little bit as you're taking your notes, saying, I can say this in this way or that way, or many ways, just like Dr. Seuss says it is here, there, or anywhere. We can do all those things, right? So that's a little bit how you can use it in just the language portion. I would say, Soila, if you want to like implement more of the language part, in your practitioner work in the practitioner manual, look at Virginia Satir, the meta model, which is the specific questions that you can ask. And then the other one is the Milton model, which is the hypnosis, the hypnotic language. And that would be a big helper for you for your speaking engagements. Those two things, like those two, will help you. Because in an audience, you have the people that are very detailed, but you also have the big pictures, right? And so in an audience, you want to captivate an audience, but you want to captivate the ones that are bigger picture first. And you're gonna tell them the purpose of this, and then you capture the big picture audience, and then you can get into the details because the detail people are gonna help like wait for you to tell them the details. And if you skip number 3 and go into number 5, they're gonna be like, wait, what happened to number 4? Yeah.
What was the first model you mentioned? I know I heard
Meta
notes. I know
model?
what was the first. Oh, meta model. Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's
Mm.
Virginia Satir, where it's very specific questions like, oh, she doesn't like me. Who doesn't like you specifically? How do you know? Right? Those are very specific questions. Because sometimes in coaching sessions, people will speak very generalized or very distorted ways or very deleted ways too. Remember the 3 filters of NLP? Deletion, distortion, generalization. So if you can identify which of these they are speaking in, you can ask them questions based on that. So if someone says, you know, it's just nobody likes me. That's a very generalized statement. Nobody? Like not one person at all, right? Because it's everybody. Or no one, if you can also be deletion. Who is no one, right? So those are very good questions, like simple questions that in your sessions, you don't need to go into, especially if you're doing more like of a business setting session, and if they're not necessarily looking for a personal breakthrough or health breakthrough. And if you want to language it more for them, just determining the answers that they want with just meta model can help you get a breakthrough on its own. So like if Roxy says, I get nervous when I get on these calls. What calls specifically? Coaching calls? Calls with your mom? Calls with a client? You know, maybe a call with, I don't know, the boyfriend? Like what calls specifically are you talking about? Because when do you feel, how do you feel? And I'm not necessarily asking you, Roxy, it's just example. When you're speaking to your mom or with your mom, how do you feel? Oh, I feel like I know what I'm doing. Ah. So there is a time that you are confident on these calls. Gotcha. So what if, and then you can give them kind of a hypothetical. And what if question is also a meta model question too. What if you did do this in this way? I know I'm throwing a lot at you right now. First Q&A, first one of the year. But from here, you can just see, okay, which one lands for you. And then we can come back the next time we do another Q&A and see how that went too. And then text it in the group. Does that help a little bit? Cool. And Roxy, these are some great, this worksheet, I just saw it, or I saw it fully. It's good. I like it. So good on, getting templates and stuff. Like I tell y'all, like, don't just learn from me. I don't have all the answers. Ashton has a lot of resources. Soila has a lot of resources. Roxy, you have your own way of doing things and resources. So like you just shared a resource with us. So thank you. Anything else, guys, girls,
I
women?
do have a question.
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, oh yeah, it's a question. I'd like to know if there's any feedback that you can give me from the call that we just had, Ashton, so that you know, can get better.
That's great to have on this call too.
I'm still kind of processing. I guess, I didn't expect because you really opened up. We really touched on something that I needed to work on. And what we found is that I need to work on my schedule and like develop my schedule for what I decided at the quarter. And like really like what time am I waking up and planning out my schedule, including like when I stop working, when I have family time. And so that kind of like blew my mind so much that I'm like, whoa. Damn, like that was great. I love to feel like this after, having a coaching call. Um, and so any feedback? Let me think on this for just a minute. Honestly, I don't really have any feedback for you yet. And that's not normal for me.
That's
Uh,
a win.
yeah,
Yay!
yeah. Like I'm sure there's something, but I don't know. I think just the state of my mind of coming off yesterday and then today, and so I'm just a little all over the place a little bit today.
Well,
I do want to
I mean,
offer
if
you
you think,
something, but let's see.
Maybe you can send it to her later or something too.
yeah,
Yeah, I can like just think on it, but like just right off like the bat, I think the way things flowed, the way you offered resources, you were supportive. Like I don't think you did share information about yourself and it was all very relevant and helpful for me personally. Um and you didn't go off on tangents, about yourself or anything. Like I really felt like you did a really good job.
well,
Nice.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Nice. I like it. And I know that y'all have a call next weekend, right? You and Zoila?
Yeah, I'm gonna let her know on Monday, once I get back to clients and see what my schedule's gonna be like. So it will be sometime this week.
Cool. I'm excited to see that. And then at some point, y'all can send, I keep saying this, testimonials for each other. Video testimonials, written testimonials, those are very helpful. And then you can put them on your website or on your social or wherever you are having audience. Yeah.
So that's another question I have. When and what, I guess it would be after the call, well, when we're wrapping it up, right? When you would ask for a testimonial
Yeah, you can ask it for a testimonial, or
or
if you have a follow-up, if you have a follow-up or something, or if you're like, hey, I'm gonna text you or I'm gonna message you for accountability on this day, then you can ask for it then. Normally, I like to ask for it at the end of the call because people are like feeling a certain way at the end of the call. Like, I feel so good. Oh my God, yes. And then they can send you the testimonial right there, or you can record it as you're at the end of the call. Hey, can we take like a minute to, excuse me, 2 minutes? So would you be open to giving me a testimonial? It would just take a minute or two. Excuse me, sorry. Then take that call and put the person on spotlight. Just say, hey, this is just for me. For the testimonial, is that okay? And then you can record it right there.
okay.
Mhm.
So let's say that you have like you've had your one session and you're getting ready to schedule another one. So
Mhm.
would you just like do the testimonial at the end of like the two calls or after the one call and then another one?
Um, for if you are like, yeah, we're gonna have another session, then I would say I normally would wait till the second session. But if the first one was so good, then I would do both if you want both, or just the first one, and then you don't have to get the second one. And then you can even ask like, hey, we're completed our sessions. Can you send me an overall testimonial, like out of all three calls, how was this experience as a whole for you? So there's no
Okay.
right or wrong way. I like to do it at the end of calls, or even just if I don't get a testimonial, I say, hey, from a 1 to 10, how was this call for you? And that gives you feedback for next calls as well. From a 1 to 10, from a 0 to 10, you know, how was this call for you? 0 being like, man, this was just shit. Or 10 is like, oh my God, it was the most amazing thing ever, and just be honest, we all give each other feedback. And then
Okay.
someone can give you like, oh, this call was like a 7 for me. Oh, great. How can I improve? And then you can ask, how can this call have been better? Or, 10. Great. Then, send me a testimonial.
Okay. Cool.
hmm Yeah, that's one thing one of my coaches used to do. She would always ask me, Carla, and she was very like, I can remember how she was just sit like this, and she has like this kind of like look. She would have her su café. She like, Carla, from 0 to 10, how was this call for you? 0 being like, ugh, like this was like the worst thing ever. 10 being like, ha, no one like her kind of thing, right? And she had this very like interesting feeling to her, but very powerful. And I was like, oh yeah, this was a good 9.5. Good. And she wouldn't ask me like how to improve. She's like, good. and she would just take that feedback. So,
Cool.
Was this call helpful for all of you? Getting back to it, getting connected?
Yes.
Cool. So the next call, hold on. Oh, and I did want to show you the portal real quick. Give me a sec. Share my screen. It may look the same to you, it may not, because I did the whole admin login thing, but there's the audios that I've added in there, and I'm still adding more, because I started editing some more of them. So you can go back, you can always re-listen to some of your audios. If you're like, what was or you're like, what was the um cause and effect? What did that mean? You can just go back and listen to that one specific thing. If you know what you're gonna work on with a client, you can just go to the specific section and say, okay, this is what I need, right? For example, what was rapport? How do I build rapport? Let me go listen to rapport. And you can just listen to that because they're like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. They're not long little audios that we have in there. So, you can go back and re-listen to some of these. There's a progress thing, but it's not linear or anything. Then the training modules, I'm adding more. So based on our calls, these are longer, but this one, for example, is rapport, predicates, conscious use of language. So we have different little sections that I'm trying to be very specific and I'm more a big picture person. I'm trying to be more specific so you can easily find techniques or things that we talked about. Resources, we have the manuals in there that you can just download. Oh, I just downloaded mine. So you would just click and download for those two. We have the test if you want to go back and just kind of refill your test if you want to, or if you just kind of want to review it at some point. Book resources, things that I like to read. I'm adding more. Also, if you have resources that you want to share that have really helped you, share it and I'll add it on there as well. So we can all share those resources with each other. ¿Qué más? And then workbook and audio freebies. So this one's the one I recently shared. And I shared it in an email. So you can download your workbook, also the biz templates. So these I will be adding more, like coaching agreements, a mood board if you want to, like for example, Roxy, for your book, what kind of mood board do you want for that? Like for that book that you're going to be publishing, right? What's the feel that you want to have with that specific thing, or just you in general? Client welcome. This is more of like a little welcome packet if you don't have it. So I'll be adding more things in here. Group call replays, I'll be adding this Q&A call in there. So you can always go back and say, someone asked this question. It was on this day. You can go back to those calls as well. And you can listen to that video. You can watch or listen if you don't care for watching it. You can watch it on here. So, and I'll probably do both the video and the audio in case you just need to listen to it. So that's what is in here at the moment. I'm adding more things like I said. But do you have any questions in here for this? Cool. So I'm excited to keep building with y'all. Like I said, y'all are my OGs. And then the affiliate thing is still active. So if you have someone that is interested, the next training is February 29th through March 4th. It's a 5-day training. I decided to do it on leap year, start on leap day, and telling everybody, hey, make the leap. So come in if you want to review something, like, hey Carla, can you review can I jump on if you're teaching this specific thing? Sure, I'll send you the date that's happening. If you just want to come in for that specific section. But I will say, if you do come in for like that specific section, then stay for the practice for that as well. That way, if somebody needs a partner, then you'd be in there to practice with them. But that would be the only thing I would ask for. So I'll give you kind of timeline for that. Cool. Awesome. I really appreciate all of you. I'm excited living this year boldness, with purpose, and whatever else y'all add. I'm hoping in the next one, Veronica and Barbara can join us as well. That's why I did it a little later. So Barbara in California, Barbara, if you're watching this, hi. So she can join on as well. Well, it was good seeing you guys. I don't know which one to say sometimes. So if y'all need anything, there's the group, accountability. What's something that let's end it with this, because I want to keep this accountability going. What's something that, like, one small thing or big thing that you are focusing on this week? I'll go first. So one this week is record another podcast episode and publish it on Friday, and to just share the reels that I recorded for this week.
So for
Mhm.
me, it's I'm having an in-person event in February, so I've
Mhm.
got to go between the. You only asked for the next week, right? Because I could get.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you said?
Tell me
No,
all
yeah,
the
no, the next.
accountabilities.
Yeah, so the next week is I'm changing the title of my event and then producing content to go along with the outcomes that I would like the clients to get from it. So
Cool.
that's part of my 7-day
Mhm.
plan.
Nice.
Mhm.
Roxy?
I think I'd like to just get back on track.
Mhm.
So continue to work on, waking up early
Mhm.
and
Cool.
getting that going, and also figuring out how to anchoring myself to this chair in a better way.
Yeah,
That is
good,
my goal for this week.
good.
Me, over the next week, I just, like I said, now, really, I guess getting my schedule down, it would be a top priority. And then now, because I'm behind from last week, taking a vacation, just getting back on track would be my goal.
Nice. Cool. So let's all keep each other accountable, and I'll check in with everyone at the end of the week. And if you have a win before then, you're like, hey, Carla, or hey, group, I accomplished that before the end of the week. Cool. Let's share it together. Yeah. Awesome. Well, if nobody has anything else, this is where the call is ending. So anybody watching the replay, send me any questions, comments, or anybody else if you want to practice together. Keep connecting. And if you want to learn something specifically, send me a message so I can schedule that. Either we do it in a group call or I'll record it to put in the portal as well.